affected by the storm will remain uninhabitable for weeks, perhaps longer. At least one half of all well-built structures will suffer roof or wall failure. Persons, pets, and livestock exposed to the wind will face certain death if struck. Airborne disease will be widespread. Water shortages will make human suffering unimaginable by modern standards. Tonight, after midnight, Katrina becomes a Category 4 storm. By 7 a.m. Sunday morning, it is a Category 5 hurricane with sustained winds in excess of 160 miles per hour, gusting well over 200. For you international visitors, 160 miles per hour is approximately equal to 260 kilometers per hour. So, at 9 o'clock in the morning, on Sunday, a mandatory evacuation order was issued, non-optional. You must leave. This was the first of its kind in 140 years. The last time a major American city had issued a mandatory evacuation order was Atlanta, Georgia, during the Civil War. Approximately 1.2 million people live south of Louisiana and New Orleans. Around 100,000 stayed. Some stayed because they had nowhere else to go. Some stayed because they had no way to get anywhere else. Many stayed because they were simply stubborn. They just refused to leave. My aunt and uncle were two of the stubborn ones. They could have left New Orleans. They simply refused to do so. Many of those that had not have a way to get out of the city were covered by the mandatory evacuation plan, which activated school buses and city buses to help take the people out. Unfortunately, the voluntary evacuation order issued 24 hours before and released all city employees. The bus drivers had left with their families. When call officers under the mandatory evacuation plan, they were hundreds of miles away. The buses remained empty and unused here in the city. Approximately 10,000 people went to the shelter of last resort. They went to the Superdome. But there was food and water for those 10,000. This was provided by FEMA, intended to last for 2 days. The 250 reserve National Guard troops were activated. Out of the 1,000 available, the governor activated 250. They were placed under the command of a man that had just graduated from law school. He joined the National Guard as an attorney, given officer's rank commensurate with his new position, as is tradition. As the highest-ranking officer in the Superdome, he was placed in command, having never led men on or off the field. Sometime after midnight, the rain began to fall, and the winds began to rise and rise and rise and rise. At 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, the industrial canal off the starboard bow broke open and the lower ninth ward began to flood. At 5 a.m., the other side of the industrial canal broke, and what used to be a Navy yard began to flood. At 6, the East New Orleans levee, which is miles behind us, was overtopped by a massive storm surge. East New Orleans begins to flood. Katrina makes landfall around 6:15 in the morning, southeast of here. This is approximately the same time that the power plant supplying electricity to the city flooded and shut down, would not come back online for 6 weeks. Over the next few hours, Katrina makes its way past New Orleans, breaches, breaks, and overtops occur all across the city. There was no one single type of failure or location that the levees failed. Different things happened in different places. In Lunar Avenue, in the nice suburbs around the yacht club on the other side of the city, the levees are too short, the water goes over the top. The Four Points Canal, the levees are intact, the flood walls on top of the levees break. The New Orleans Canal, which was unfinished, it was the gate leading to the unfinished portion that broke open. The worst breach by far, no comparison, was that leading to the lower ninth ward.